everyone, we are back in the Little Shop of Hoarders. I am the PDX Picker. My name is Chris. We're here to talk about my reselling business. And we're just in the middle of a doozy of a time period. I'm really going to treat today's video almost like a diary of sorts. So we're going to talk about some buyer issues that I'm having. I know I'm not unique. People experience this all the time. It's just extra hard when you're having a real crappy month when it comes to sales. Interesting stories though. It's amazes me the depths that people will go to save some money, I guess. Today is Saturday. It is March 15th, so we're essentially halfway through the month. If you've been watching any of my previous videos, I've had a whole bunch of returns, expensive returns, most of which were not my fault. Either the post office lost packages, buyers were just buying things they didn't know what they were buying, they weren't paying attention to the descriptions. They were, just things that are not my fault. I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm not saying like, oh God, I just want to point out that I feel like these are things beyond my control, and that's what maybe makes it worse. If these were under my control, if it was my mistake, I could own up to it. I could work to be better, to not make those mistakes. But I feel like I'm doing everything right for the most part, and it's still tough. It's not like I haven't sold anything. I am coming across people that are commenting saying they haven't sold things in days and days. Some people said they haven't sold things in months. I think those are people that have listed items and then just let them sit there. I am perpetually listing multiple items a day. My goal is 5. Sometimes I do more than that. A couple times this week I've hit 9 and 11 postings for the day. Other days, like yesterday, I only did 2, I think, because the day just got away from me, I should say. Had sourcing that I needed to do, and then I had a commitment at my gym that I needed to take care of. And then I had commitment with my wife, which is Friday night date nights. So important things that took away from the listing for the day. But nonetheless, I've been listing, and still it's just not resulting in great sales at all. My last video, I felt like things were picking up. I had a really good day. I think I had 8 sales in a day. And in the past 2 days, including Friday and half of Saturday now, which in my opinion are peak selling days, 2 things have sold. 2 things have sold for a grand total of maybe $25 plus shipping. It's not only is it smaller volume of sales, or it's smaller average sales price, and it's taking a toll. And then on top of that, you just have buyers that are pulling junk, pulling stuff that is just so mentally debilitating. So I'm just in one of those funks right now, and that's why I said I'm treating this video kind of like a diary. I'm hoping maybe some of you will relate a little bit. Maybe you'll laugh at my troubles. Maybe you'll think to yourself, well, hey, my situation isn't as bad as Chris's over there. I don't know. I hope that you'll get some sort of entertainment value out of this video. I want to go into more specifics about what these buyers are doing. It is what it is, but it's just frustrating. Today, I also am really going to focus on my death pile over here, my storage unit stuff. I've listed a few things from there already, but I'm going to go through that later today. But right now, let's talk about these buyers. I'm going to try and get fancy here and screen record and do a picture-in-picture on the computer. I'm hoping to make the videos a little bit more professional. I'm also dealing with, as I've mentioned before, and I apologize for the whining, but I'm just in a whiny mood, dealing with a real downturn in my YouTube views, my YouTube video views. Channel views across the past couple of weeks are way down. I'm doing everything the same that I've always done, so it is what it is. So a while back, I had sold a really nice pair of vintage 90s Doc Martens sandals. Picked these up for $10 at a thrift store, and they had not been worn at all. They were in pristine condition. They were made in England. All the things that all the boxes you want to check for a really high value item. So I had them listed for $200 and ended up having this interaction with a potential buyer. So you can see right here, they asked me on January 7th, will you take $175 for them? And I said, yeah, I can do that. And then there's several additional messages saying, okay, I will purchase them at midnight on the 31st of January. So we're talking 24 days later. By the way, on the 7th, where I said, yeah, I can do that, I sent her an offer for $175. She accepted the offer, but then that's when she said she's not going to pay for them until the 31st. Okay. So here, all of a sudden on the 29th, she says, gonna be making the payment at midnight in just a couple of days. Do you think you could do $165? So now she wants to pay $10 less. I didn't reply because we already agreed on $175. Then on the 30th, she says, I'll be making the payment 31st at midnight, so you can repost it for $175 like we agreed. And I just said, well, why don't you send me an offer for $175 when you're ready to buy it? And then she says, okay, thank you. Have a good night. Trying to make an offer so that I could purchase them, but it's not accepting my credit card. I don't know why. February 1st. We're almost a month later now after the original piece. And by the way, this isn't even the behavior that I'm talking about. This is fine. It's weird, but it's acceptable. It's not the end of the world. Okay, finally, February 3rd, she ends up paying full price, $199.99 for the sandals. She didn't do anything about offers. She just paid full price. And I said, on the 3rd, thank you for the purchase. I'll get these shipped out to you today or tomorrow. And then I further went and said, I'll send you a $25 refund since we had agreed on the $175 originally. I just thought that was the best, business practice. We'd agreed on $175. She was having some issues with the offers back and forth, so I went ahead and just sent her a $25 refund. She said, okay, thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. So I shipped these out on February 3rd. February 4th, maybe, let's just say. And they arrived in her possession on February 8th. Didn't hear anything from her. All of a sudden, on March 14th, well over a month after the sandals had arrived, she sends me this. This is the bad behavior I'm talking about. When I got them, they don't even look like the picture. Nothing at all like the picture. Well, I didn't know in the agreement that I was getting screwed. I'm sorry to say, I'm sorry to take that language, but I still paid $175 for them to be falling apart, not even put together. These were brand new sandals, never worn. I didn't say they were worn. They're a very nice pair of sandals if they were the bottom part of the bottom of the shoe where your foot goes in was glued in there properly. Basically, she's saying somehow the bottom part wasn't glued in properly, the sole. You should have said something and ain't got a hold of docmartin.com. Then she says, you cropped a picture out of a magazine or something and sent that and said instead of sending the right picture, the right shoes, because I would have never bought them. Then I would please like to return them as soon as they're a tracking number. I want my money released. Thank you very much, but that wasn't right at all. So there was a return request that she sent, and there were 2 photos in the return request. They were just very zoomed in, close up photos of the back of the sandals, the sole or the top portion of the sandals. So I asked her, would you do me a favor and take pictures that show all of the sandals? Because I just wanted to see the whole image of the sandal to see what kind of shape they were in. So these were the photos she sent to me. And you can see, so do you see all this creasing right here? None of that was on the sandals when I sent them because they were brand new. They had never been worn. And then all of a sudden there's all of this, what looks to me like just dirt or cigarette ashes or just guck thrown in onto the insoles right here. Bad photo, you can see a little bit better, a little closer. And then this one, I don't know what exactly she's trying to show here, maybe just showing the full sandal. But never shows the bottom of the sandals. But I want to go back to this. I mean, look, this is supposedly, now we're talking again, over a month after she received these. Supposedly they were just sitting in the box, according to her, and rotting away. And then a month later, she opens them up, and they look like this. Okay? sent a few more photos. So again, you can see they've absolutely been worn. Heavy creasing in the area where they would bend from being worn. Obviously, she's not a professional photographer. Okay, but again, you have just, I don't know what would have happened here to cause this, but this is, I agree with her that that's gross and bad, but that's not what I sent to her at all. So she goes on to say, I wore them for like 10 or 15 minutes, and that was it, and I didn't even leave my house in. I replied, Hi, Virginia, I'm sorry that you feel like you want to return the sandals, but you are well beyond the return period that is allowed, and I wouldn't allow a return for an obviously worn pair of sandals anyway. Best regards, Chris. I wanted to say other things, but needless to say, I closed the return, denied the return request, and blocked this buyer. This is super frustrating to have to deal with something like this. I don't know what her motivations are other than money. I don't know exactly what somebody is thinking when they do stuff like this. I don't even understand what exactly she was saying that I did wrong other than supposedly send her the completely different pair of sandals. Why would she have worn these sandals at all? She said she wore them for 10 or 15 minutes. Why would she have worn them at all if that was the shape that they arrived in? I don't know. It just could be something as simple as they were desperately trying to get some money because they need money. But it's frustrating. It's frustrating to have to deal with that. Within a day, now this happened yesterday on Friday, a day later today, this one wasn't nearly as bad, but it was just another issue that it's frustrating. It's just frustrating to deal with. It dealt with a camera, a Canon digital camera that I had listed parts only, not working, and somebody bought it. So this is the camera here. You can see it's a Canon PowerShot A570. Price was $34.99, free shipping. The condition you can see is for parts or not working. And if I was to scroll down here, I didn't go into a lot of details, but you can see condition for parts are not working, an item that does not function as intended. We all know what the condition refers to. Then in the description, I didn't have a huge lengthy description. I just said, does not power on. Now I know a lot of you could say, oh, maybe you should put that in the title so that people realize that. Okay, yes, I could have, but at what point do we put the onus on the buyers to just be better behaved when they buy things? Like, I know we need to sometimes do things for the lowest common denominator, the dumbest of people out there. But there are multiple areas on this listing that say that this camera does not work. Not only that, but it was listed at a price that was less than half of what these normally sell for. So she knew she was getting some sort of a screaming deal when it came to the price. There's got to be a reason for that, right? So yes, I could have put it in the title, but also people are dumb. And we just need to expect more out of people. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say that. So today she messages me and she says, I bought this camera, I put batteries in it, and it won't turn on. Is there anything else I need to do for it to turn on, or did I buy a broken camera? And I said, hi, you bought a parts-only camera that in the description says it doesn't turn on. That's why it was so inexpensive. Can I return it? Yes, you will have to pay the shipping to return it, but you are able to. How much is the shipping to return? I'm not sure, but eBay will guide you through the process. Okay, thank you. In the meantime, I get a return request. I open it up, and the reason she chose for return was that the product was missing pieces or missing items. Well, that is essentially the same thing as an item not as described, or at least it's very similar. So when that happens, now that shifts the burden of the fault onto the seller from the buyer. Really, the buyer is at fault here. The buyer purchased the wrong item. They're the one that therefore needs to pay for any way to fix this mistake, which in this case would be to pay for the postage label to return the item to me so that I'm made whole as a seller, and then I can refund her at that point. Well, instead, she chose, like I said, the wrong reason, which then puts the onus or the burden onto me to make this right as the seller, which means that I would have had to pay for a postage label to have her ship this item. That's just not what happened. That's not what happened. And as a matter of principle, I pushed back on this. She says, okay, I just sent a request to return it, and I said, you chose the incorrect reason for return. Please close your return request and choose the option for ordered wrong item. Now, when I'd said this, I knew that her closing her return request would mean that she was not able to return the item at all. I knew that that would happen, but what am I supposed to do? Just eat the cost of the refund now at this point? It's just not fair. It's the buyer's fault. I get it. They probably made an innocent mistake. It sucks, but it's their fault. It's not my fault. I shouldn't be the one that pays the consequences. So she then goes on to, by the way, then she just sent another message that just changed the wording of her return request. So she didn't actually close the return, but she said, I changed the description, but I don't know how to change the option for why I'm returning it. And I told her, you need to close the return, choose the option for closing the return. She says, I closed it, and once you do that, you can't open it again. She says, I can't return it now. Then I went on to say, you need to contact eBay directly. You chose the wrong option for the return, which made it look like it was my fault as a seller that your item was missing parts that should have been included. That meant that I would have to pay for the return shipping. You need to be sure and choose the correct option or a situation like this happens. You must contact eBay now. They might give you a refund, but it's up to them. Then, all of a sudden, out of the blue, she says, your description didn't really say that it didn't turn on or anything. So I chose missing parts as like misinformation, not knowing it didn't work. Which, woo-wee, that's frustrating. My response to that was simply, my description specifically said it doesn't power on. Please don't make things up. That is not fair. This is another scenario where people make mistakes, and instead of owning their own mistake, they try and blame somebody else. I've done this many times in the past. I'm not saying that I have never done this before, because that would be insanely hypocritical. But in this situation, I very clearly walked her through all of the realities of the situation, and then at the end, when she realized that because of her mistake, she was going to be the one that had to pay the price, now all of a sudden she decides to blame me completely for something that wasn't at all my fault. It's maddening. We're going to pivot to a little lighter situation, but again, more interesting buyer behavior. I'll just put it that way. I had a buyer reach out to me about this vintage Kids of America animated dancing Easter Pals plush. So it's literally just a little plush that you put batteries in, it dances and plays a song. Easter coming up, I have it listed for $15.95 plus shipping. She goes on this and writes this small novel. Hello, my son was gifted one of these animated dancing chicks by his grandfather, my father, about 16 years ago when he was 4 years old. As he got older, I tried to clear out some of his toys. Blah, 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 blah. I don't need to know any of this. I don't know why people insist on writing these books, these novels, when it comes to buying an item. Even if the item was $1,600, I don't need to know the why behind it. All she was simply saying is her son was gifted one of these from her father, his grandfather, and she threw it out and didn't realize that it would mean so much to him. Well, she now has realized that he was deeply affected by it and has found my listing and wants to know if this item works. Well, I have a video in the listing of the item working, okay? Again, I've done everything I possibly could as a seller. She then tries to, guilt trip me or whatever and says, I can't replace it with the exact one, but hope that my effort to get a replacement for him will help him to realize that I'm sorry, ... and absolutely never meant to disappoint him. He's on the autism spectrum, ... and I've learned to take the extra time to see things from his perspective. Okay. By the way, this message came through on March 13th. Today is March 15th, 2 days later. I said, hi, Jennifer. Yes, it both works and is from a smoke-free home. Thank you. Didn't hear anything more from her, but lo and behold, what happens today? I get an offer of $10 for this $16 item. It just flabbergasts me. If it means so much to your son, just buy the item at full price. It's $16. It's not $500. It's not $160. it's $16. If it meant so much to your son, why is $6 gonna make? I decline. I actually countered at $14. This whole, and by the way, her username has something to do with a common phrase for being nice and spreading cheer to everyone. And then you essentially try and guilt trip me with this novel where you explain how you disappointed your son who has autism so heavily, and now all of a sudden me as a seller can come in and rescue as long as I heavily discount my item for you. No, it's not happening. It's not happening. Now I have this just came in. Carhartt shirt, extra large. Have it listed for $15.95. Somebody sends me an offer for $5. $5. I should just miraculously discount this item 66% for them. More than that, almost 75%. I should discount this item because they decided to send me an offer for it. Most of the time, these things wouldn't bother me because my sales would be, I'd have good sale after good sale after good sale after good sale to replace the frustration and the annoyance that comes with buyers like this. So normally, these things happen all the time, and I normally just brush them off my shoulder, ignore them, don't focus that much on them. But sometimes the world, for whatever reason, just decides to beat you down with a hammer when you're already just drowning under frustrating scenarios. That's all this is. That's all this is. Are any of these buyers horrible people? No, not at all. They're just people going about their day, maybe making some interesting decisions, maybe definitely doing things differently than I would have, and perhaps a lot of us would. But that doesn't make them horrible people. It's just so frustrating. And I just wanted to share it with you today. On top of having, like I said, YouTube views go down. The reason why the YouTube views bother me is I'm this close. I have 3,700 watch hours. I need 4,000 watch hours. And once you get 4,000 watch hours, then your channel is able to be monetized. So all the ads that are showing up on my videos, I don't get a cent for any of them. All of that money goes back to YouTube. But if I can get up to 4,000 hours, which is just 300 more hours, then I'll start to get a few more pennies. And I know I've been money grubbing a lot lately. I've asked you to join my channel many times, and it's just because I'm so close, and I have put in hundreds of hours building up this YouTube channel to be this tiny little speck in the world of reselling YouTube. There's people that I think are just as good as me that have 20 times, 50 times, 100 times, 1,000 times the viewership that I do. There are dozens and dozens of other channels out there that are way better than I am that probably have even fewer views than I do. I know it's not fair. There's a lot of luck that goes into this YouTube business, but I'm just so close to finally breaking over that last milestone of getting 4,000 watch hours, and then I'll be able to actually hopefully make this all worthwhile, because to be honest, I'm close to giving up again. I gave up before, and I took like a year off, and then my channel went down to virtually nothing, and then I came back and said, you know what, I'm going to give it my all, and I've given it everything I can for 14 months now, and I'm this close to finally breaking through. But I can't get over that last 300 hours because lately, for some reason, my channel views are through the tubes, down the dumps, completely gone. And I'm doing nothing different. I'm still uploading 3 videos a week. I'm still using thumbnails. I'm clickbaiting the heck out of my titles. And for some reason, YouTube has decided to not put my channel, to not put my videos in the general feed where usually hundreds and hundreds of people find my channel, find my videos in the past. It's been going on for the past 3-4 months where I've been getting all of these organic views, not from my channel, not from subscribers, but from random people that have found me that way, and YouTube, I feel, is doing me dirty. So again, This is probably going to be the worst video ever, but here I am. Thanks so much for watching, if any of you have made it this far. I'm going to end the video for today. I'm going to go back to listing, going through my death pile, going through my storage unit items, hopefully finding some things that people will actually want to buy on eBay and pay somewhat close to what the expected asking price is, not some 75% discount that they think they deserve because I don't know why. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Please like it if you did. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And if you really want to help me out with some view hours, do me a favor. Go back to all of my videos in the past, year and a half, and just press play. Have them playing in the background. You don't even have to watch them. Just have them play in the background, and maybe that will just help randomly boost my watch hours to hopefully crest over the hill and reach my goal. Take care, everyone. We will catch you on the next video.